I've got to be honest, sometimes I feel like I'm just totally out of touch with football and football fans and the reality of it all. Let me explain. We all know we're going through a really difficult time, and it don't really matter what we do to a certain extent. Obviously, we've got to win our games to kind of finish the season strongly, but ultimately, there's teams that have got easier run-ins, there's teams that have got better momentum, there's teams that have got games in hand and so on. So the long and the short of it is we could potentially end up anywhere from fourth down to kind of eighth. Now, me personally, I think top four's done, gone. So then you're talking about fifth, sixth, seventh Europa League, and then fifth and sixth Europa League, seventh Europa Conference. And I'm listening to all these debates about whether it would be okay to achieve Europa or whether we want to be in the conference or not. So the question really that keeps coming up is, much rather not get any European football at all, rather than be in the conference. And I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, how does that make any sense? Like, literally, how does that make any sense? If you're in the Champions League and you're not going to win the Champions League, someone coined a phrase the other day, I heard it and I thought it was really, really quite clever, really quite funny. All the gear, no idea. Stupid old saying, but it's really typical of that situation, that you've got all the fancy stadium, all the facilities and all the rest of it, but you haven't got the ability to actually compete in it. So kind of what's the point, right? So you kind of look down and you go, okay, Europa League, that's a competition that gives you the opportunity to get into the Champions League by another route, and it also gives you the opportunity to compete in a well known historical competition. So everyone's okay with that. When you then start talking about Europa Conference, everyone goes, don't want to be in that because it's a tin pot competition and there's no benefit to it, and it allows you to concentrate on not having any games in the week, and then you can concentrate on getting yourselves back into the Champions League next season and concentrate on trophies, homegrown trophies. And I'm sitting there, and this might be me. Like I say, I feel like maybe I'm out of touch. But if you've got the ability to be in the Europa League, great. Like I say, it's a historical competition. It's got some kudos. You can get into the Champions League and all the rest of it, right? You play that on a Thursday. So you're going to end up playing Thursdays and Sundays. You're going to the conference. You're still going to play Thursdays and Sundays. So the days, it's the same from that point of view. And then we're going, but we don't want to be in it, and all that, because we'll concentrate on getting a better league position next year, and we can take the cup seriously. Now, hold on. Let me get this straight. We're saying, based on the evidence of the last few years, that by not being in Europe, we would concentrate on trying to win the league. Do you think we are any closer to winning the league now than we were last season or the season before? See, I don't think so. Are we any closer to winning the Champions League? No, I don't think so. When we were in the Europa League, did we ever really take it seriously? No, not really. We didn't. We didn't try to win that competition. Even as fans, as we was getting into it, and that was progression from not having European football, to go into the Europa League was like a benefit, but we never really took it seriously under Pochettino. It was all about getting to the Champions League, a competition that we can never win. We never seem to get anywhere in. And I'm like, we got into the Conference League and got knocked out by COVID. Well, it didn't make anything any better for us. We didn't do any better. And all those years that we weren't in the Champions League, and all those years where we weren't in the Europe at all, just remind me again how many times we won the FA Cup and the League Cup. So, what's changed? What makes you think that that's going to change? Because the owners are still the same, and they still want European football, and they still want the Champions League money. The priority for this football club under this current ownership is Champions League football. So all the other competitions are not going to be taken so seriously. We are not going to put all our eggs in those baskets to try to bring those kind of glory nights to Tottenham. It's a reality check. I'm sorry. It's a reality check. It's what's going to happen. We might want it. You might think if you were running the club, you would put more effort into winning the League Cup, the FA Cup, because you haven't got the pressure of European football. But that isn't what the leadership of the club want. And unfortunately, that also goes for the manager and the players. That they're not gonna take it any more seriously just because we're not in Europe. They're gonna go, well, this is a great opportunity to get back into the top four. So the question really is that what you want? Do you just want to get into the top four? And if anyone says to me, it brings more players, we can buy better players and all the rest of it, attract more players than that. I'm sorry, what attracts players is money, kudos, getting trophies, not just the Champions League. And you've got to look at these as stepping stones. You have to start somewhere. My question to you is the Europa Conference League a worse competition to win than the League Cup then? Is it? Is it really? I don't think it is. I think if you only qualify for the Europa Conference, then that means that's where your level is. That's where you're good enough for. If you don't get it at all, it shouldn't be seen as a bonus, as a benefit. It should be seen in the negative. You weren't good enough. You only got to 8th. I literally don't get it. And like I said, this might just be me because I'm an older guy and I want to see some success on the pitch or whatever it might be. But it feels to me like we're losing sight of what this is all about. If West Ham win that competition, their fans will absolutely love it and they will rinse us. They will rinse us. They haven't won a trophy since 1980, is it? Something like that. And they are more likely to come away with some silverware this year than we are. Now, we can all sit here and hope, oh, they don't get it. But if they do get it, then that's competition. They went into that competition, they played well, they win the trophy. That's kudos for them. And it's rinsing for us. And I'm sorry, I just don't see the logic of that this is going to happen. We are actually going to just do something totally different. We're going to work totally different than we were working before because we've got European football. I honestly don't get it. So maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. It's up to you. Leave your comments, leave your views and see if you're different from me. But for me, if we get the Europa Conference, I mean, I would rather see us get into the Europa League, of course, because it's a better competition. But if we get into the Europa Conference, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy that that's where we are. Not happy. You get the point I'm making. I would rather be in a competition than not in a competition. I'd rather have the opportunity to win some silverware than not win the silverware. And I think we're probably more likely to win the Europa Conference than we are to win an FA Cup. And that's just a sad state of affairs because of where we are. It's going to be a very, very interesting summer of recruitment, managerial, and so on and so forth. And maybe at that point we might have a better idea. But in terms of football and football clubs and owners and what they're looking for, I kid you not, I do not believe that any club is going to stop or play better for the league just because they're not in Europe. And you can say, well, look at Arsenal, look what's happened to Arsenal. Yeah, okay, Arsenal, they're doing really, really well this season, they're having a great season. But how many other clubs have not been in Europe this season? And where are they? All right, it's just my opinion. Like I say, my opinion might be different from yours. It's all about opinions, it's up to you. But if you agree with me, great. If you don't agree with me, that's great as well. But you can leave your comments, leave your questions or whatever in the comments and let me know what you think. But as it stands at the moment, I just feel like I'm a bit out of touch. Maybe I am. Up the Spurs.